I have been incredibly busy. In the last episode, we left off creating a villager breeder. And in today's episode, we are picking up with a bunch of enchanted books. So, how did we get here? Well, we started with a bit of moving, then we did some zombifying, then we did some curing, and then we did trading. Lots and lots of trading. Now we have enough enchanted books to make an entire shulker box of max level tools and armor too. But in today's episode, we're gonna take this a step further. Today we're going into the Nether to get some Netherite, and to obtain this Netherite, we're gonna use the explodey bed trick. What's that? You don't know the explodey bed trick? Well then allow me to demonstrate. All you have to do is place down a bed in the Nether and then right click. But you know, that happens like in the Nether and stuff. So into the Nether we go, but for our explodey bed trick, we can't just do it up here on the surface of the Nether. Well, I guess we could, but yeah, I'm not so sure how useful that would be to us. So instead what we're gonna do is dig down very carefully to about Y level of 13 in the Nether. And now that we're down at Y level 13, we have a much better chance of finding Netherite. Fire in the hole! Reminder, this video was created by professional Minecrafters. Do not attempt this at home. Or do, it'll make for a great story. Well, I would call 45 ancient debris a successful trip. That should give us 11 items to turn into netherite. So, a little bit of gold and a little bit of scrap, and wham bam, thank you ma'am, we now have full netherite gear and a story about blowing up pigmen. Both are equally valuable. And with the 7 netherite ingots that I had left over, I made some of my work picks into super work picks. Also, remember those enchanted books that I showed you at the beginning of the episode? This is where they went. But we didn't do all of this for nothing. You see, I needed reliable tools so that we could do some mass block collecting, specifically stone. Remember how I told you guys we were going to be making a recreation of a jungle temple? Well, I've planned out most of the exterior of the temple, and we're looking at about 41,000 blocks just to make the outside of the temple. This build is going to be mega, which means this is going to take more than just a day's worth of mining to get all of those blocks. So instead, let's direct our attention to something we have more control over, collecting wood. I'm still collecting all of that stone over on my live stream, twitch.tv/Kilodrone, but we can start expanding our jungle village today. So to quickly recap our plans for the village, we not only want to have platforms down at this level, but we also want to grow some 2-high trees so that we can get some platforms up at this level. We also are going to need to get bridges in to connect up all of the platforms. And one of the things I want to do is get these upper level bridges to cross over some of these lower level bridges to add another dynamic to the village and have this area start feeling more like a spider web. So let's get started. The first thing that we want to do is get some of these trees in place. We want both the double high trees and the single high trees. This will add height variation to the village. To do this, we're going to take the coordinates from one tree and add to the X or Z coordinate based on where we want to go. Then we go plant a new tree at those coordinates. In order to get diagonal trees, we're going to add to both the X and the Z coordinate and do the same thing. These are a little hard to do because of the additional complexities of the bridges, but we'll do that a little bit later. Next, we want to build out platforms on each of these trees. I'm going to make sure that we have both really big platforms and smaller platforms as well. This is going to add some variation to the trees and make the village look a bit more unique. Now it's bridge time, and this is the part that takes the longest. These things are a pain to build, but they do look really good once they're in. I also started with fences as part of my siding to the rope bridges, but I eventually decided that the jungle leaves would just look better, so I replaced all of the fences with leaves. I also went back later and lowered all of these leaves that you see to be even with the bridges rather than like a railing. You'll see the difference later, but it looks much better. And then last but not least, I stripped the platforms, added some variation in with jungle plates, and this is the result. Oh, dude, this place is so cool looking now. And it's not even done. It's not even done. We still have more work to do. I think the thing that I love most about this village thus far is just walking around on all of the bridges. It feels so cool and actually feels very tribal, which is exactly what I was going for. So many ups and downs and different paths to go. I absolutely love it. But there are still some things that I would like to add to this village in the future. First and foremost, we need to get the houses in for each one of these platforms, but also the bridges. As you can see over here, I actually have one that has a little bit more detail to them. First and foremost, they have some beams that are underneath the bridges, acting as sort of support structures. And I have these at intervals going down the bridge. So there's another one there and another one there. And then off of these, I actually hung down some glowberries to light up the jungle underneath the bridges. Now, obviously, that means that we're going to not only need a ton of glowberries, but we're also going to need a ton of string. That way we can stop the glowberries from growing too far down. Speaking of which, that is another problem that I've been having way too much with this jungle village. There are way too many vines in this area, and honestly, it's starting to drive me nuts. I keep having to go around once a day and trim our trees. And to be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure what the solution is to this problem, because either I can put string on the end of some of the vines to stop them from growing, or I guess the only other option I have is to completely get rid of the vines, which isn't really what I want to do either, but they just grow so much that I'm not sure that I can keep them around in this village. So I guess that's one of those things that I kind of want your guys' input on. Do we keep vines in this village, or do we just go ahead and get rid of them and then we can replace them with maybe some bushes hanging down from the tree or something like that instead, rather than just having these vines that will eventually grow all the way down to the ground and it just looks ugly. So moving swiftly on from that, we have this river here, and one of the future plans that I really want to do is get in some type of grand entranceway underneath this little rope bridge here, and then maybe turn this platform into some type of lookout nest or something like that that can watch people who are going in and out of the village. We also have the cliffside entrance into the village that still needs some work as well. We need a path that comes up here, we need some type of entranceway, and maybe some type of defensible position as well. But that's not as much work as we have down here on the river. Down here on the river, we definitely need to work something out that is better than this. We need to get some bridges in here, we need to get some greenery in here, and we just need to overall make this look a lot better. And also, I probably need to build a small island around our center tree here. So there's still plenty of work to be done in this area, from building the houses to building entranceways to getting all of the decor in, as well as we still have the temple project to do. So we are nowhere near close to done, but I do think that we made a really good dent in it for today's episode. That's going to be it for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.